Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to the Amateur Otaku podcast. I'm your host for tonight, Isaac Wolf, and joining me tonight is Jamie. How's it go? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here. It's getting cold, so sweater weather.
Understandable. And we're also joined by Didge. How you going, man?
Oh, it's going well. It is also getting cold here. So I guess also sweater weather.
I'm about to say t-shirt weather, short sleeve weather.
Yeah, here's getting autumn weather here, so I get you. Even though I'm personally not someone that gets. But then again, I'm Swedish, so I might be more used to cold. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
But, no.
it gets
But
cold in Wisconsin too, but I don't think it gets as cold as Sweden. I don't know.
we had one of the coldest winters I've had growing up has been. I don't know how it's in Fahrenheit, but it's the coldest has been -30
Oh,
Let's
Celsius.
see. Minus
that's
30 Celsius
it's like
is. Oh no, I've been in that cold. Yeah, -22.
Yeah, yeah,
We've experienced that too. It's rough. You don't go
it's
many
fun.
you don't go many places. Well, I don't go many places, I should say.
My mom and dad took me out on a sort of like a camp, and I wouldn't call it camping trip, but they were out in sleeping over in the tent in about 30, 20 minus Celsius when I was 1 year so old, and took me with them.
I think you might get some Wisconsinites who would be down for that. I even growing up here, I like to say it's because I wasn't born here. I don't like the cold, even living here. Like winter's the worst for me because cold sucks.
Then you should then if you somehow for some reason moves to Sweden, don't move up to Kiruna. That place can go to like 50 or 60 minus last time I checked.
Oof, no,
So,
I'm good.
but that's up on the top, so to speak. But uh, tonight's uh, tonight's subject at all is the movie Look Back, which is an anime adaptation of Tatsuki Fujimoto's one shot. And if you recognize the name Tatsuki Fujimoto, it's that is he is known for the Chainsaw Man, which we have covered here on the Amateur Otaku. And I was thinking that we should go with a synopsis before we started this whole discussion. And it's as follows. Fujino is a fourth grader who draws a manga strip for the school newspaper. Her art makes her the star of the class, but one day she's told that Kiyomoto, a student who refuses to come to school, would also like to submit a manga for the paper. And also, I just before we truly start with the whole ordeal of what we think, what did you notice a bit of a play on the names of the two leads here?
I didn't know.
I noticed. Well, I was told.
Can you guess what it is?
No.
The one of them is called Fuji, no, and the other one is Kojimoto, and the mangaka's name is Fujimoto.
I'm not gonna lie, I forgot the other girl's name. So even when you said it, I was like, "Dang, what's her name again?" Uh,
It was just a fun play, I feel, and so and I was just going to ask, starting with you, Jamie. Did you know about Look Back before you saw this, and what's your general thoughts about it? We going non spoilers at first.
I did not know much about Look Back before I saw it a few days ago. I want to say either you or someone else in the anime community has mentioned it before and mentioned really liking it. But even then, like I never really got any context as to I guess what the story was outside of like high school girls making a manga or whatever. So yeah, didn't know a whole lot. After seeing it, I enjoy it. I feel like I like it more knowing, I guess, the context around why Fujimoto wrote it, and I guess kind of a little bit of his headspace as to why he wrote it. I think as a anime movie itself, it doesn't benefit from, I think, all the hype that people are spreading about it. Because I think, like, anime casual, like, I think they would enjoy it, but I don't think they would understand why people are saying, like, "Oh, like, it's this and that," unless they really dug into, some of the details relating to the actual author, like, the mangaka himself. But I think as someone who, like, immediately I was like, "Okay, like, I must be missing something," and, like, tried to dig a little bit deeper. I'm glad that I did because I think that additional context helped kinda elevate this, movie to, like, kind of an art piece and, something akin to, like, kinda self-expression in a way, so, yeah, it was a whole mix of things, but I would say I enjoyed it.
Edge.
I also enjoyed it. I did not know the context that Jamie was talking about at first. I looked it up after the fact. And she's right. It does make you appreciate the movie a lot more. Um, the hype that it had like before it, I would again also agree that it kind of hurts it because you go in almost expecting one thing, and I won't say that it 100% delivered on that, and obviously we'll get into that once we get into more details. But just from a outside aspect of it, I kind of think that the pacing was a little too fast for certain parts. So, like, even without getting into any spoiler territory, um, things kind of happened at such a rapid pace. You didn't really get a chance to, I would say, live with the characters or even like live with certain parts where we were. So when as things happen, you're kind of almost in like an emotional whiplash because you're just like, well, this thing just happened. Now we're already at this. Oh, well, I can't process that. Now we're at that. And I think that hurt it for me. 60 minutes is a short time for a film. And I am somebody who professes that films are entirely too long a lot of the times.
He does say that.
For me to say I want a little bit more fleshed out time for this, I think that means a lot. So, but like I said, overall, it was a good story. I did have a good time with it, and especially knowing the added context, that definitely heightens it more.
It's funny that you mentioned the whole context and all, and it's which is also one of the reasons I personally enjoyed this movie. For well, it's and I hate to admit it, but I was one of the ones that was hyped towards this film, and know how
There's nothing
I
wrong with
was
that.
with. You know how I was with the movie when we talked about it in the Discord. I do believe I was probably, but for me personally, I adore this one. But at the same time, I can understand where you guys are coming from. Maybe it is because of the reason as that I want to be an author. I am being very open about that. Which is makes me connected with the Fujino and what's her name again, Kyomoto, to an extent because they want to create, they want, and they have their challenges, ups and downs, and they don't sugarcoat it to an extent, I dare argue.
No, yeah. They're like pretty honest about like everything they went through as artists and as like young ladies growing up into women, which was also really cool to see. I do agree with Didge that this film kind of left me wanting more. I think in a good way, where
Yeah.
like I could see or imagine them expanding some pockets of time where like they're growing up and first meeting and getting to know each other and that kind of thing, or even when they move on to like try and pursue separate careers, like having a little bit more time with that. But I can also relate to this in the sense of, I guess, just like wanting to be creative and pursue art and different things like that, and finding people or like a community that you can, like someone that like really understands, I guess, like what you're going through and like what you're trying to achieve. I think that's something that's really cool about this film too.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it at its heart, it was all about community and companionship, and the way that it showcased the community to companionship through the relationship of those two. It was a very powerful thing. It was a very sad thing. I don't know if we're still in non-spoiler territory, so I won't go into the details. Oh, so, go ahead.
We can go into spoilers, considering how long this book is.
Oh, fair. Yeah, I mean, when you start like the scene where Fujino, when she finds out about the whole attack and everything, and not being able to get in contact with Kimoto, then getting the call from her mom, that like just that scene itself, I think that was probably, I think, just my favorite part of the movie. Just it was very sad, one, but it was very raw. Like right before it, obviously she's in the midst of doing all of her work and stuff, and you can like, I figured something, like I didn't know the details of what was going to happen, but they like, I had closed captions on, so the first time it had like sort of what the newscaster was saying, it said like attack or whatever, and it's like, this isn't the first scene where she was working by a TV. And so like immediately my mind was clued, like, why did that bring up on closed caption this time? That's kind of weird. And obviously it goes through the whole scene, and I feel like where a lot of movies and stuff, they would sort of try to dramatize it, like sort of make it into such a bigger spectacle. It was sort of raw how she just reacted. Like basically falling to her knees because there was nothing else you can do. And I think that's what the movie did at its best. Kind of wish we would have got more of that. Not necessarily in a sad way, but in a way of you're exploring those two relationships and how it sort of shaped their lives.
Yeah.
It's a very short one shot, so to speak, unfortunately. So I can understand why it's as short. So the movie is scratching the surface as it is. You guess how many pages the one shot is?
It's like 160, right? I saw it in one of the articles I had read about it.
144.
I was going to guess 90.
And that's isn't that usually the amount of a pocket of one manga volume? Correct me if I'm wrong.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I know. I think one of Farron's volume was over 200. I think.
Oh wow! Okay.
I
did not know that. But Farron is peak, so I don't mind that.
That's fair. I was not upset with it. So.
But had you had any experience about Fujimoto's? I forgot to mention, but had you any experience of Fujimoto's work prior to this film?
Obviously Chainsaw Man. Just from what I've seen of the anime, I'm not a manga reader for Chainsaw Man and Fire Punch. I knew of I won't necessarily say I've like experienced it at all myself, but I do know people who have, like, they've talked to me extensively about it, just like in different conversations.
Mm-hmm.
That manga is a fucking fever dream.
Yeah,
Interesting.
kind of the same for me. I've seen Chainsaw Man. I've heard of Fire Punch.
Okay, so how was this movie in a perspective of you knowing about those when you watched Look Back in, so to be, considering it's such a different contrast between the projects as a whole. I know that I saw it together with two other people, and they looked at me only being aware of Fire Punch and, well, or more importantly, Chainsaw Man, and asked, "Are you sure this is from the same guy?" So, which made me laugh out loud, because personally, I feel like this. If they didn't claim that it was from him, you can easily fool someone, unless it's someone that go by the art style. If you catch my drift.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. It's drastically different from anything that I've seen them do. So,
Mm-hmm.
Good to know he has multitudes. That's always dope.
Yeah. And I think even art-wise, I feel like it's different from what I've seen, at least for Chainsaw Man, at least as far as the anime is concerned, because I haven't read the manga. But the one thing I did recognize when oh my gosh, what's the main character's name again?
Fujino.
Fujino. Yeah, when Fujino found out about Kyomoto's death, and the like expression she had on her face, it was like very distraught, but also like this could have come straight out Chainsaw Man. Like I feel like I've seen that face before. That was the only time where I'm like, oh yeah, this is Fujimoto. But yeah, outside of that, this is vastly different from what I'm aware of that Fujimoto has worked on, and it's really cool to see. Cause I think, I don't know, the only other mangaka that I feel like I really have like a good grasp of their work is probably Akira Toriyama, and I think Akira Toriyama tonally kind of hits a lot of the same themes, even though I enjoy it every time. But I think the one work where I really saw like something different was actually Sandland. That where I felt like he kind of like dug a little bit deeper with that story. And I think I can't remember at what point did he write Sandland, but I know it was kind of like a bit of a one-off series or a departure from Dragon Ball. So yeah, to kind of see like the range and see like the, I guess, change of subject from a lot of these like fantasy or like power trip kind of stories to something that's like a little bit more grounded and real. And from what I read, or at least the theories that I've read, like more personal too, I think was cool to see.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I'm pretty much the same with Jamie in terms of mangakas, that I would sort of know multitudes of their work. And just to talk art style with that, Akira Toriyama, you know that when you see.
Oh yeah.
There's no, you're not gonna see something you be like, maybe that's Akira. Like, no, you're gonna know that that's. And so,
I love me some Akira Toriyama work, but he has like 3 designs for his characters.
When they had the gif of just the hair changing, that was when it drove it home, because it was crazy, because you could still tell that they were each different characters, but just as it was switching, you're like, this is really the same. It's just hair. Yeah. Hair makes the person. But back to this one. Like I said, I think it is nice again to see something that's drastically different from everything. Not only just from a consumer's point, but even just as an artist, I'm sure that had to feel liberating to be like, no, I can do
Hello,
all
Mike.
types of things. What's up, Mike?
Yeah, and especially to have it supported too. I'm sure that's a great feeling.
Right, to know that okay, the people don't just like me for this one thing. It is truly my work, the story that I can bring to the table.
Yeah. Oh.
Wow, carving a chicken.
Is it like Thanksgiving soon for you guys or something?
I mean, not soon enough for
to already be carving a chicken. No,
no, I think he's just. I think he's just carving a chicken.
No, I think that's just dinner and maybe lunch tomorrow, and like maybe dinner tomorrow too.
Yeah,
gotcha. And I must just wait. I don't they have Thanksgiving in November?
Yeah, but it's the end of the month.
In 2 weeks. Yes.
Ah, okay.
I'm off that week.
I'm not.
You have to dance while you said it.
I wanted to be a part.
I was about to say when Didge said he was off, and he was, that must be nice, and you just, I'm not, and I'm just, never mind.
It's just the rotisserie chicken. Yeah, that's definitely meal prep.
I mean, it's a good thing to prep for the day after. I mean, everything going on these days.
Yeah. That is true.
Yes, out of curiosity, if they would say that, let's say that Fujimoto came out to say, I'm going to do a continuation of this one, would you guys be interesting to watching this after seeing this movie?
Yeah, give me the alternate universe.
Yeah, I would. Let's curious go back what they would call it. Is it looking back?
Look ahead this time? I don't know.
Also, I have to
look
say
back,
that,
walk forward.
I mean, walk forward could be a good name for a sequel. Not gonna lie. And did you all catch the reference that Fujino did at the once she started to become more successful on her own?
Yes, she did, like, I forget what it was. It was something shark, but it was like Chainsaw Man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That
cool. Gave me a chuckle when I read
shark,
it.
Right?
And
shark kick.
Yes.
Maybe some. Yeah. Yes. That's definitely like
it's shark time.
That's how you know that the character is like somewhat representative of Fujimoto, or at least you have to kind of. That's the thought process it leads you to.
It does feel like it.
Which is probably why a lot of people connect with this, because it feels so personal.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I told you guys, but one of the best stories has always been those that, at least in my book, written as it being more. It can feel personal. You can see it in the script.
Yeah, and I definitely, when I was doing like research on the film, I read a couple of theories, like one of which being that like Fujimoto is kind of represented by I'm so bad with names, you guys. It's like the Fu character, Fuji something.
Fujino.
Damn, I was like one character off. Fujino.
Did just laughing right
I didn't know where you were going with it. I was gonna try to help, but I'm like, I'm just gonna have to let her get this.
You're just gonna watch me struggle. I know you know what I was talking about. But but yeah, Fujimoto is represented by Fujino. And then people were saying that like Fujimoto was a really big fan, or is a really big fan of Kill Annie. And so that's why Kyomoto,
fan of like, what?
Kill Annie animation.
Animation. Kyoto Animation. Oh, those that did on they did Violet Evergarden and Inishi, My Ordinary Life, the whole batshit insane comedy show about with a deer wrestling with a principal.
Oh, I didn't know they did
If
that. I saw Violet Evergarden though. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. It's on the list. But yeah,
Mike know exactly what I'm talking about. The Digger versus the Principal, at least.
yeah,
If he's still in the chat.
yeah.
Also,
I feel like I've seen y'all talk about it.
I'm so happy seeing that they recovered after that arson attack. So,
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna, I guess, kind of follow up with. So Kyomoto represents, according to this theory, Kyomoto represents Kyoto Animation or KyoAni, and that's why Kyomoto ends up dying in the like attack on the university as kind of representation of like what happened to, like, I don't know if it's friends of Fujimoto that were at that company that might have passed from the arson attack or whatever it was. But I guess just how that, I think, I don't know if it's so much personal, like, yeah, there was somebody there that died and that's who the story's about, or more so just like the attack on the company in general that he loves so much. I feel like that's kind of what Kyoto represented in that moment, if the theory is correct. So it's nice that he has kind of like an homage to them and kind of showing, I guess, how KyoAni kind of influenced him and inspired him to be like a better mangaka. And also kind of with the looking back scenes, which at first I did not know what was going on. I'm like, are we going in an alternate timeline? Or I had no idea. But with the looking back scenes, it also kind of shows that, you know, regardless of whether like his influence or not on like KyoAni or anybody at KyoAni, like they still would have been brought together in some kind of way, which I thought was kind of sweet. So it's like, you know, even if you feel bad, like, oh, I brought this thing onto somebody and like you have like a really strong connection with them, like, you know, sometimes things happen. It's not because of you, but sometimes things just happen, and the universe would have brought you guys together anyway. So I thought that was a cool perspective.
I mean, the arson attack against KyoAni happened in 2019. Look Back released in 2021, so I could easily see it being a homage to KyoAni / someone that he knew worked at KyoAni in animation there. And now that you mentioned that theory, that would make a lot of sense, since, as we know, it's a personal story of his. Or what do you think, Didge?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense. Like, I know when Jamie was first telling me, like, oh, after reading sort of the connections, I went to go Google it, and that was the first thing that had popped up with it. So for the longest, I was like, well, yeah, this makes this story really personal. This makes this story make so much more sense. And then when I had saw the whole thing about the earthquake actually being part of the inspiration and how drawing felt hopeless for him, it makes even more sense, because you got to think those are two very big parts of his journey. And in a sense, those are like not necessarily obviously the earthquake being the cause of her hopelessness in the film, but just that feeling of hopelessness. And then later on, after you have success, having to deal with somebody, or in the case in the real world, people that you love or a company, basically being killed, you can see the parallels very easily. So I would be shocked if it didn't have any type of influence on the story.
Yeah, I can understand. Understandable. How would also another thing that comes to mind is whenever Chainsaw Man ends, because for those that doesn't read it, it does feel like the Chainsaw Man is ending right now. And would you like seeing more stuff like that, or do you want to see the Chainsaw Man side of him again?
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of both. I mean, I think I feel like it's clear that he's proven that he can do both. I haven't. I was looking up. Have you read his one shot Goodbye Eri? I can't either.
Yes, and it's excellent.
Yeah, I see. It says it's like a drama mystery. So I'm
Oh,
curious about that. Where it sounds like he's sort of touching all types of genres. So
yeah.
maybe we see something completely different.
You know that.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I can take that.
Oh, fair. No, I was just gonna say, like, at this point, I feel like the sky is the limit, and I wouldn't mind seeing something a little bit more heartfelt again. But I want to see what's the next genre then that you can tackle. Looking at the receptions for Goodbye Eri, it had really good ratings. So it seems like it's not sort of the genre that's gonna hold him back. It's just what kind of story can you tell?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. I would be open to him like exploring something else like Chainsaw Man. But I also would be down to see something else from Fujimoto as well, because clearly, he's exploring a lot of different genres, a lot of different subject matters. So I want him to continue to do that because I think one of my favorite it feels odd to say like mangaka because I'm like, I don't really what?
Mike's statement.
Oh,
Why not? Why not, Mike?
It's funny because while I was saying that, I was low-key thinking about like all of my experience with Chainsaw Man, and at first it was not positive. I was like, bro, this is some freaky.
That is fair. Yeah, no, it started off very like, whoa, what we getting into?
Honestly, it didn't get less freaky, I guess. It was just like, less frequently freaky. And you kind of understood the character and understood why he was freaky. So then I don't know. I guess I kind of just gave it a pass after a while, but it is a little freaky. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, it feels weird to call. Oh my gosh, no.
You were talking about
Araki.
your favorite mangakas.
Yeah. I can't remember his first name, but Araki, that writes JoJo, feels weird. Oh, really? Interesting.
Why?
Maybe he's more
But go on,
freaky in the
Jamie.
manga. But
I can take that at another time.
But yeah, it feels weird to call Rocky one of my favorite mangaka since I don't really read JoJo. I've read a little bit of it, but I mostly watch the anime. But I really love JoJo. I love the work there. I honestly have never thought about, does he write something else? I should look that up. I don't even remember where I was going with this. But oh yeah, I feel like he as Araki has explored different art styles and just ways that he likes to draw characters, color characters, like his art has evolved and like got more refined and interesting, and it's really like a joy to see like JoJo evolve and also like the story evolve as well, because he just like completely throws some things out. So I would love to see that happen for Fujimoto as well, where he just kind of does his own thing. He continues to develop as a person and as an artist, and it kind of shows through his work, because I think that's what makes a work interesting too, is just seeing all the history behind it.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because there is a rumor. Yeah, I say rumor because I can't find the source of it, but the rumor is so insane that I actually can believe in it. So take that as you will. But supposedly, he has said that he wants to do an harem anime.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Say a harem manga, and the sort of like premise he said was, in short, a group of girls liked a guy. A guy when got together with one of the girls. The rest of the girls commit Senpong and haunts that girl and the male lead.
That is his idea Not everything is for everybody. I'll wait for the
No.
next one.
Like I said, it's hearsay. It's hearsay, so, slash rumor, but considering Chainsaw Man and the Fire Punch, I can believe that. Personally, at least.
I mean, that is a different genre and subject than what he's written so far.
Yeah, but no, we can keep moving genres. Let's try the next one after that one.
Yeah.
So what's this? The idea B? What's that?
Right. Let's go back to the drawing board. You know, not every idea is a winner.
Yeah. Yeah. But moving back to the movie, and sort of like that, is there, and because I feel like we're talking in circles and sidetracking, is there anything else that you guys feel is worth mentioning with the movie? Did it make you want to pick up the book and just see the differences or stuff like that? Maybe.
I am curious about the one shot. Just because I do want to see if it was 1-to-1 or like, you know, was anything expanded or just taken out. I hope nothing was taken out for the brevity of time, because you could have put this at 1:15, 1:30 if we're being honest. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting just to see the comparison of the two. So I'll probably give it a shot one of these days. I have a lot of stuff I'm reading right now.
Jamie.
This actually made me want to go back to, I think it's called Baccano. It's an anime, similar-ish subject about two guys that are writing a manga.
Love that one.
Except they're writing it with the intention of impressing a girl, of course. But it's still fun. I got, I think, less than 10 episodes or around 10 episodes into it, and then I think I started watching something else so that we could review. So I do want to go back to it because I do like kind of the informal part about like getting some of the behind the scenes on like making manga or like writing the stories, and I guess the process of like I guess working with a partner when it comes to manga, because like I don't know, in my head when I imagine like making a comic or a manga, it's like me sitting down writing the story, then like drawing all the pictures. But realistically, like, you know, you could have a multitude of people work on like many different things in the manga, so it's cool to see like that kind of process and kind of building your own mini team. I would be interested in checking out the one shot, but this immediately made me think of Baccano first.
Yeah, did you guys want to? If they make a movie about Goodbye Eri, do you want to check that one out down the line?
That one sounds up my alley.
Yeah, after reading the synopsis quick and like seeing that it was drama and mystery, I'm definitely interested in that. I might read this one shot. So
yeah, I can highly recommend that one if you enjoyed it. Look back. And well, the only thing I can really mention that you guys have is that I argue that this is one of the most gorgeous movies, animated wise, in a long time. But that's just a small detail. I won't argue.
Interesting. I disagree, actually.
Do you?
I do. I feel like, and you know what's funny is because I think it stylistically kind of makes me think of the One Piece fan letter that we saw, and I know you also really liked the animation for that too, and I also disagreed on that. I feel like for me, and I don't know if it's me being nitpicky or maybe I just like have a different flavor of things that I like, but this felt very like raw animation wise, which I do appreciate, but doesn't have all the kind of like flourishes that I've seen other anime movies do. I'm trying to think like what's a good example of something. I don't know. If I think of it, I'll put it in the comments. But I think with anime movies, or maybe just anime movies in general, they usually look like they have like a little bit more polish. They do like more lighting techniques. Like you can see they like kind of up the compositing. Basically, what Demon Slayer did, I guess you could say, for example, like the first season to the movie, like you can tell, like, oh, like there's a bump up in quality, like they kind of pushing things here. And I didn't necessarily see that with Fan Letter. I didn't necessarily see that with this. Doesn't mean I think the animation is bad or anything. I think there are definitely like unique qualities to all of them, but to my taste as to like what is like great animation or anything, like I'm leaning more on the Demon Slayer side of things. But I will say this feels more like expressive and energetic because it looks a little bit more like messy to me, or I guess like sketchy, I guess is the right word. So I still
Are you
appreciate it.
sure? Are you sure you're not just talking about preferring art style over the animation, based on what you're saying? I feel.
You could say I kind of mix a little bit of both, but I feel like even animation wise, it's interesting because I think some of the like smear frames and things that actually Dragon Ball Super was criticized for, like people seem to really like now with One Piece fan letter and with this movie, um, which I don't necessarily like or dislike. I'm just like, oh, okay, it's a different style of animation, or I guess how kept or unkept they want to keep their lines. But the art style definitely is a plus for me, though, as far as Demon Slayer goes. I will say that. But
Well, when you say super, do you mean the recent movie or just the animation since the start?
the animation at the beginning, like when you see the meme of like Goku looking like really crazy, and some of those smear frames, like
Okay,
not saying that this looked like that, but kind
I
of
was
like
about to say.
the general idea of it being very like stretched and smeared and those kinds of things. So it's interesting. I think people are probably more educated now because although the super smear frames were crazy, like they were smear frames, so they're gonna look crazy. Versus now, I feel like people, at least the general anime community that's online, they kind of know what a smear frame is and that it's not going to look on model all the time.
What's your opinion, Dinch?
I think I'm leaning more towards Jamie's side than anything. What funny, we chose two different or I guess two different anime to compare, like to show what we were kind of looking for and where it fell.
Oh, okay.
I was picture like Isaac brought up he said that he felt that it was one of the most beautifully animated films in recent, and I say that a lot about Suzume. So immediately my
Yeah,
comparison went to that, and I think
but to be fair, Suzume is on another level.
yes, but when you
See,
make a
but
statement
then
like
you
that,
can't say it's on another level if this is one of the most beautiful
and
anime you
that's what I was
see.
just about to say. So
Yeah.
I say that about Suzume a ton,
Mhm.
and I feel like there are some similarities where it's kind of like they might like the mimicked hand drawn, like it sort of feels muted but colorful.
Mhm.
And I think where Suzume goes over this is that it feels like it has that extra polish. Where
Yeah.
like some of the lighting
Hmm.
feels more dynamic. You can see it doesn't feel as flat. It feels like a more of a lived in world. Whereas
Mhm.
this one, again, not saying that the animation is bad or anything, or like the art style is bad. It's just it's missing that little pop that I like. Why I love Suzume's art.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
maybe
nothing
we
against
also.
like flat coloring or anything. Like Dandadan
Not at
also
all.
has like pretty flat coloring, but I like it. So,
Yeah.
Maybe
you know.
maybe it's just a fan of the art style. Then
Oh yeah, for sure. I
hmm,
mean,
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it definitely helps. I think it makes it, in my head, it makes it more impressive because not only do you have to draw like the lines and actually focus on the motion, now you have to focus on the motion of the lighting, the motion of
mhm.
the flares, motion of like whatever other effects that you're adding on top of just like the normal lines and color kind of thing. So
Yeah, I get you. I get you. But like I asked earlier, but with that being said, is there anything else you guys want to add?
I think that's about it from my end.
I would say if you guys haven't seen it and for some reason are still watching, you should definitely check it out. And the time that you have been watching this, you could have also watched the Look Back. Think about that.
You'd be 3/4 of the way through that movie.
Yep. And also, I would definitely recommend that. I think this is something that casual anime fans, or even people that are not necessarily anime fans but open to animation, I think this is something you can invite like those kind of friends and family to watch as well. Because I think it's a really great story, really well told, and really impactful. I think something that a lot of people can relate to. So, I think this is something you could definitely recommend to everybody.
Yeah, I would echo that. I don't think there's really much to add, but it's something that if somebody loves the story,
yeah,
they'll like this. You don't have to necessarily be an anime fan to watch it.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah. Let us know down in the comments, what did you think? Did you pick up on some of these clues as to how this could be connected to Fujimoto? Do you even believe the theories? Or you guys just like think we're crazy? I don't know. Let us know. Say it nicely though. Respectfully.
Exactly. Be respectful here. But well, Didge, where can people find you?
You can find me at Didge_DEE in all places, and that now includes Threads and Blue Sky. Actually, I think it's like DidgeD.Blue.Sky or whatever. I don't know. They have a weird
put it on the link tree
going on there. Yeah, it is on my link tree. I updated that.
I need
yesterday.
to fix mine. Yeah, I need to fix mine.
I actually just did that. So yeah, check the link tree. It'll get you to all of those. What else? Find me doing some geeky stuff over there on the Geek Set podcast. Stay on the lookout on my personal YouTube page for a cinematic I am working on. If you have been on my Threads or Blue Sky, you have seen little snippets and pictures here and there. It's all coming together.
Jamie?
Yeah, you guys can find me at Swiper_Prime on Twitch and YouTube. I'm on Threads now. It's Swiper_Art because why have one username when you can have two? You know what I'm saying? But on Twitch and YouTube, I'm actually going to be streaming more Zelda tonight. I've been fiending for it, and today is finally the day. I don't have to go into the office tomorrow, so we're staying up late. Well, I kind of hope not because I'm kind of tired. But we're in here. We're finishing some of the final side quests before I go to the final dungeon of the game. Crazy to think that it's almost over, but yeah, definitely come through.
And well, you can find me over at Blue Sky at Emblemaniac and Threads at the same Emblemaniac and the same name. I'm mostly using Blue Sky, but I'm again trying to switch between. This pod is I'm going to try and as soon as possible do an own account for both for the Amateur Otaku. Since we have kind of migrated from Twitter or X as it's called right now.
Any artists over there, I recommend you do the same. The terms of service are crazy.
That is true.
Yeah. I only I have still have Twitter, but it's because some people haven't migrated to Threads /X Threads or Blue Skies right now.
Yeah.
I just have contact with them, but through DMs then, and not just. And I just wish that more news sites would move over to those two, which would make it more optimal.
Yeah.
But, well, you can find my writing at the Wolf Writes. You can find, also, I'm hopefully going to be done with the first Let's Play as soon. It's just a lot going on right now. And, well, that's about it for me. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell. Have it awesome, y'all.
Bye.
So, oh, that went well.